In this video clip, we will talk about the definition of sine alpha, cosine alpha, and tangent alpha. Previously, we said that the ratio of one side, let's say opposite side of this alpha over OM, the adjacent side, will not be changed if alpha is fixed. The ratio of opposite side over hypotenuse will not be changed if angle alpha is fixed. Okay, so that means you have a big right triangle or you have a small right triangle, then we always have the same ratio for the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So for the convenience of study, we always like to fix the hypotenuse B1. So it will make our life easier. So if you have a hypotenuse which is 2, that's fine. But you know, the ratio will not be changed for the opposite side over hypotenuse. Okay, so again, for the convenience of study, we like to make our case easier. We always like to study the hypotenuse is 1. We always assume the hypotenuse is 1. Then the ratio only depends on the amount of angle. So then we will define the opposite side. Here is PM over hypotenuse, which is 1, is sine alpha. So in our case here, the opposite side of alpha is y. Y, this coordinate over 1 is just y, because, you know, our case is easier. In this case, hypotenuse is 1. So sine alpha can be defined in a unit circle, which is just y coordinate. And then cosine alpha is the adjacent side over hypotenuse. Adjacent side is actually x. So x over 1 is just x. That's cosine alpha. Okay, so cosine alpha is x coordinate. Sine alpha is y coordinate. It's different. Do not get confused. It's sine alpha is x. That's wrong. Sine alpha is y coordinate. And cosine alpha is x coordinate. And then the ratio is y over x. Y over x. Opposite side over adjacent side is the slope of this line, OP, is also defined as tangent alpha. All right, so that's the definition. Quite easy. Sine alpha, y coordinate. Cosine alpha, x coordinate. Okay, and tangent alpha is sine alpha over cosine alpha. This is in the quadrant 1. In quadrant 2, the case will be like this. Again, y coordinate in this case is sine, and the x coordinate is OM. That's cosine. Okay, so in this case, y-coordinate is still positive. That's for sine, but x-coordinate is negative. So cosine alpha in this case is negative value. And then if you get into the third quadrant, x, y, both are negative. So sine is negative. Sine MP, that's MP. This point is P, is negative. Cosine is OM, which is x-coordinate, is also negative. Okay. How about in quadrant 4? In quadrant 4, again, y is sine. Sine, in this case, y is negative. But cosine is x, OM. So cosine is negative when the angle alpha is in the fourth quadrant. All right. So how about tangent? Tangent again all the time is y over x. So y in this case is negative. X is positive. So tangent is negative in quadrant 4. In quadrant 2, you have a y over x. Y is positive. X is negative. So then you will get negative for tangent alpha. In the third quadrant, you have x, y, both are negative. So then you get positive tangent alpha because x, y both are negative. And then negative divided by negative, you have a positive. In quadrant 1, they are all positive for sine, cosine, tangent. Okay. In quadrant 2, your y is all the time positive. So sine is positive in 1, 2. And cosine is positive in, here is cosine. So cosine is positive, 1 alpha is in quadrant 1 and 4, and negative x here is negative. So cosine is negative in quadrant 3 and 2. All right. So you got to think more. But you know, tangent is the ratio when the angle is a quadrant angle. Let's say the terminal side is from 0 to b. Then you have a y over x, which is 1 over 0. Denominator cannot be 0, so when alpha is 90 degrees, or pi over 2, then tangent alpha is not defined. Okay, so for 90 degrees, tangent alpha is not defined. Then similarly, when the terminal side is from 0 to d, this point is d. You see 0, -1. So then you will have the -1 over 0, which cannot be defined. So that means for 270 degrees, tangent alpha is not defined. Okay, so in this case, we say the domain of tangent alpha is alpha cannot be equal to pi over 2, which is 90 degrees, plus k pi. K is an integer. But sine, cosine, they are always defined on any real number. All right. So I'll see you in the next video clip for more examples.